All right, today we are jumping into one of the most intense, high stakes dramas in the entire Hebrew Bible, the story of the golden calf. I mean, this story from Exodus 32 has it all: a major crisis, shocking betrayal, and a leadership test that is just, well, epic. So let's get right to it. Everything kicks off with a question that honestly never gets old. What happens when the leader you trust, the person you rely on, just vanishes? When all that structure and certainty is suddenly gone, what rushes in to fill that void? Well, that is the exact jam the Israelites are in. And that brings us to our first scene: a whole community just adrift. They're out in the middle of the desert, their leader is MIA, and you can just feel this dangerous mix of fear and impatience starting to boil over. I mean, try to put yourself in their shoes. For 40 days and 40 nights, Moses is up on Mount Sinai talking to God. But for everyone waiting down below, it's just silence. 40 days is a long time to wait, wondering if the guy in charge is ever coming back, especially when you're fresh out of slavery and stuck in a desert. That kind of uncertainty is absolutely terrifying. It creates a vacuum. And you know what they say about vacuums? They demand to be filled. And this is their breaking point. They march right up to Aaron, Moses' brother, and they demand something new. That old-timey phrase, "we wot not what has become of him," that's just them saying, look, we have no earthly idea what happened to this Moses guy. Their patience is completely gone. They need a leader, a god, something they can actually see. So how do they handle this crisis of faith? Well, they don't send out a search party. Nope. They decide to build themselves a new god. And check out how deliberate this all is. This was no accident. Aaron tells them, "Bring me your gold earrings." He collects it all, melts it down, gets out a tool to shape it, and bam, he forges a golden calf. This is a step-by-step collective act of rebellion. And then comes the big announcement. They look at this shiny new statue and say, this is what saved us from Egypt. They are literally rewriting their own history on the spot, handing over all the credit for their freedom to a chunk of metal they just made. The switch in allegiance is total and complete. So with their new, tangible god front and center, what do? They party. They build an altar, they make offerings, and they throw a huge celebration. So at the bottom of the mountain, it's just this wild scene of revelry. Of course, they have absolutely no clue what's about to go down at the top. Okay, let's zip up to the top of that mountain, because while the Israelites are dancing and celebrating, God is watching. And to say he is not pleased would be the understatement of the millennium. The party down below is about to get a very, very rude interruption. God's reaction is just pure fury. He tells Moses, "Get out of my way." His wrath may wax hot. That's biblical language for "I am about to absolutely lose it." His plan? Wipe them all out. Just delete the entire nation and start over with Moses. The threat here is as serious as it gets: total annihilation. And this is where Moses becomes such a fascinating character. The very leader his people just threw under the bus, he turns around and becomes their #1 defender. He doesn't say, "good riddance." No, he actually argues with God on their behalf. He reminds God of his own promises and begs for mercy. It's just an unbelievable display of loyalty to a people who showed him zero. And you know what? It works. Unbelievably, it works. Moses' plea lands. The text says God repented, which basically means he changed his mind about the whole wiping them out plan. So for the moment, disaster is averted. But oh, this crisis is far from over. Because now, Moses has to walk down that mountain and deal with the people himself. And all that divine anger he just managed to calm down, it's about to be replaced by his own epic fury. And he's not coming down empty-handed. He's carrying these 2 stone tablets, right? The 10 Commandments, the covenant, the fundamental rules for their entire society, written, the text says, by the very finger of God. These things are the foundation of everything. And then he sees it. He gets close to the camp, sees the calf, hears the party, and something in him just snaps. In a flash of white-hot anger, he takes those sacred tablets and hurls them to the ground, shattering them into pieces. It's this incredibly visceral, physical act. He's smashing the covenant that they already spiritually broke. But he's not done. His rage is methodical. He grabs their idol, burns it in the fire, grinds it down to dust, mixes that dust with water, and makes the Israelites drink it. He literally forces them to ingest their sin, to taste the bitterness of their own betrayal. Yeah, there is nothing subtle about this. All right, next up, he confronts his brother Aaron, the guy he left in charge. Moses asks him, point blank, what on earth did these people do to you that made you lead them into this massive sin? And Aaron's response, oh, it is an all-time classic of passing the buck. He basically says, well, they gave me their gold, I tossed it in the fire, and poof, out popped this calf. Like it was some kind of magic trick he had nothing to do with. So the party is officially over. The idol is gone. But the consequences? Oh, they are just getting started. It's time to restore order, and it is going to be absolutely brutal. Moses just stands at the entrance to the camp and draws a line in the sand. Who is on the Lord's side? Get over here. Think about that. The man who was their defender before God just moments ago is now their judge. It's a loyalty test. And the sons of Levi, his own tribe, they rally to his side, separating themselves from everyone else. And then comes the order, and it is absolutely chilling. Moses tells the Levites to grab their swords, walk through the camp, and kill anyone involved. Brother against brother, friend against friend, neighbor against neighbor. This is more than just punishment. It's a violent, bloody purge to cleanse the sin from the camp. The final cost of this rebellion is stated with just brutal simplicity. 3,000 people. A truly terrifying price to pay for a crisis of faith. But even after all of that, Moses goes back to God one last time. He pleads for forgiveness for whoever is left. And then he makes this jaw-dropping offer. He says, if you won't forgive them, then just erase me, blot my name out of your book. He's offering up his own soul, his own eternal place to save his people. But God says no deal. He makes it clear that justice is personal. Only the one who sins will be blotted out. And as if the slaughter wasn't enough, there's one final consequence. God sends a plague on the people, a lasting, painful reminder of what they did. So the story of the golden calf ends up being this raw, brutal look at what it costs to put a broken promise back together. And it leaves us with this really heavy question to chew on. When the foundational rules of a community are completely shattered, what does it actually take to make things right again?